Pope Francis also calls for concrete commitment to care for our common home. Yesterday, at his weekly general audience, the Holy Father recalled the World Day of Prayer for Creation and also the beginning of the season of creation, which starts today. In 2015, the Pope made this season of the year official for the Roman Catholic Church as a time of prayer and action for the safeguarding of our common home. Joining us now from New York is Christina Leaño, Associate Director of the Laudato Si Movement. Christina, great to be with you today. Listening to the voice of creation, I know that's the theme for this year. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So the theme is an invitation to listen to the diversity of voices within creation. We recall the psalmist declaring that the heavens are telling the glory of God and the firmament proclaims God's handiwork. But the question is, do we contemplate and really hear this message? And so we're called not just to hear the glory and the beauty of creation, but also the cries. Here in New York, as we've been experiencing drought, I've been noticing, trees prematurely turning brown. And so the call is, what is creation trying to tell us? Particularly voices that are often muted, whether it is nature or communities that are economically poor, indigenous. And what are our actions doing in response to these voices?
Yeah, and the message for this year's season of creation, Pope Francis asked the UN members for the effective implementation of the 2015 Paris Agreement on climate change. What are some of the other topics that the Holy Father mentioned in his message?
So in this beautiful message, Pope Francis also calls us to practice an ecological spirituality during this time of the season. He says, and I love this quote, to pray once more in the great cathedral of creation. So inviting us to bring our prayer outside and to see how we can reconcile our relationship with creation. But in his message, he also talks about the need for a communal conversion. As you mentioned, he asked UN members to take action on climate, but also on biodiversity. There's an important UN summit coming up, and there's a need for governments to come together to develop a framework to protect the destruction of ecosystems and species. He also names the need for corporations, particularly naming extractive industries like mining, oil, forestry, to really reflect and to stop destroying, he says, forests and wetlands and mountains. Because he said this is such an urgent issue. And I think many of us, as we're looking at what's going on in our environment, whether it's drought or fires, we see the urgency. And he says in his message, we are reaching a breaking point.
Christina, before I let you go, with the Laudato Si movement, how do you suggest that Catholics and other people make a difference in the world around us?
So, as Pope Francis invites us, there's both the personal ecological conversion that we can commit to. So looking at our own personal lives, our consumption patterns, what are we eating? And then, as Pope Francis mentioned, there's the communal conversion needed. So can this be a time I reach out to my parish about joining the Laudato Si Action platform, which is a Vatican-sponsored program to get institutions to go full sustainability in the spirit of integral ecology? It's also a time to advocate to our government leaders about these important topics of climate and biodiversity, particularly with the upcoming UN summits arising. And last, there's a number of suggestions and events that you might join that are available on the Season of Creation website at seasonofcreation.org. So invite you as well to check that out and see how you might really live this season of creation.
Oh, wonderful. Christina, thank you so much for your time today and speaking with us. We appreciate it. God bless you.